Let's do this. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm very late to this. I was traveling, so I couldn't react to this round table by Film Companion. Easily one of the biggest one in India with the people they have got. It has been really hard for me not to watch it because I was craving for it. So without any delay, let's watch it. Again, letting you know it's a long one. If you haven't seen the original video, I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out. Let's watch this.
Hey everyone. So the first of our roundtables brings me to Chennai. I'm at the Taj Wellington News and so excited to have on our Adda Kamal Haasan, SS Rajamouli, Lokesh Kanagaraj,
Wow.
Swapna
Just
Dutt,
wow.
Prithviraj Sukumaran and Gautham Menon.
Now it will be our time, for which all of us will have to humble ourselves. If
Wise
we have
words.
to walk that far, then we have to walk together.
Today, if I'm envious of anyone, I would say it is the Malayalam writers and actors.
I want to do for the Malayalam industry what Rajamouli said it for the Telugu industry.
All right. Very straight face.
Wow. That's my first response on seeing.
There are, by the way, two tables in a sense, unlike the Galata plus one, which everyone like making memes that there's no table in this round table.
All of you sitting here. It is such a pleasure and such a privilege to have all of you on Film Companion. Thank you.
Wow. I still cannot believe they pulled it off, like just SS Rajamouli and Kamal Haasan together. And then Lokesh also, then Prithviraj also, like, oh.
Thank you for making the time.
Thank you for having us.
No, genuinely, and thank you for all the movies that you've given us this year. It has been so exhilarating for me as a viewer, as a critic. And I want to begin with one of my favorite quotes, which is from Theodore Roosevelt. And you know, he which ironically begins with the line, "It's not the critic who counts." And he goes on to say that it is the man in the arena who, whether he triumphs or whether he fails, does so while daring greatly. And I think you are all examples of people who have dared greatly.
Wow.
You've taken risks that have happily paid off. And in a time which is very challenging for cinema, which has been very, very nerve-wracking, you all have made films that have brought people back into the theaters. So thank you for that. I want to start with actually deep diving into that, into the art of.
By the way, if I look this side, that means I'm checking if the recording is happening or not. I don't want after 1 hour I realize there is no recording. You would only bash me up for that.
Film. You know, right now, conventional wisdom is that Hindi cinema does not know how to do this right now. That's why we're so disconnected from the audience. That's why so few films are running. So I want to ask all of you, as the ambassador from Hindi cinema, what is the first ingredient to making a popular film? How do you do it without condescension? How do you do it without compromise? Kamal sir, you have done this for 6
Before
decades.
watching English films, watch Indian cinema, Hindi cinema, Bengali cinema.
That's your advice.
That's my advice. Because when you say that Hindi cinema doesn't know, some of my greatest inspirations have been from Hindi cinema. Some of those who I respect very much are from Hindi cinema. There's something called Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. The sun shines according to the way the commercial world moves. Right now it's shining here. We hope we can keep it that way. But you will be, what do you call, the luminescence will turn the other side also. It's about, we've had, or not all of us, but at least I have had my flops and dark moments.
I like to look towards Rajamouli and said, not everyone.
When nothing works, but then it's
Even Lokesh for that sense, right? I don't know how Managram did. Yeah.
starts working. When you start working harder, it works. That's what it is.
I don't think there will be any secret formulas. Two things I would say is like basically having a connect with the audience and not getting too comfortable. If you get too comfortable, you'll get too complacent. If your film is doing good business at the moment of announcement, then you tend to get complacent. So I think, like what Kamal sir was saying, like what happened was once the corporates started coming into Hindi field and started paying
The businessmen, right, who are running the show now. It's they are in the control. That's wrong.
high fee.
That's not wrong. It works in certain sense. Like Hollywood also, like the studios are the big thing there. But it's just the balance, finding the right balance, going with the right intention. That's the thing.
To actors, to directors, or companies that need to, I have to succeed at any cost, has come down a little bit.
The hunger.
The hunger has come down a little bit, and here that down south that was not there. You have to swim or you're going to sink.
Okay, why is this happening? This is not right. I'm sorry for that.
So, like he said, now it has shifted here. Now we shouldn't get complacent. Now we have good business at the announcement of films. So if we start getting complacent and the hunger goes down, then it's going to go the other way. But actually, to answer your question, to have the connect with the audience,
Something is wrong with the mic.
always have an understanding of what
I think it's pushing against his shirt, so the noise is coming in.
they're wanting. I think is important.
I wish we really knew. If Kamal sir and Rajamouli sir say they don't know, then that's
Nobody knows.
But I think just looking at what's happening around, I think good grandeur is working. Event films, obviously, ensemble casts. And if I were to speak about myself, I made a very experimental film, which while going into the film itself, we clearly knew that there will be
This is a nice
some
film. I
audience
like
won't
it.
come and watch this film because of the plot, because of the content we put out as a gangster film. So I know straight away, like even in my house, they would probably watch a film like that unless now it's on OTT and stuff like that. So I think going by looking at what's happening, and I really wish we can do more of these ensemble films that Lokesh pulled off with Sir. I thought it was tremendous of Sir to allow space for other big actors to come on board. So if the big actors actually, I mean, I won't speak for Prithvi, he's always done that, but Kamal sir allowing that to happen, and I am using the word allowing because that was a huge, decision, I thought. And I'm not saying it's only because Lokesh and Kamal sir are here, because I think that kind of is a big example for all of us, I think. Sir pulled it off. I mean, he can do that. But here, I'm hoping other actors will sort of allow that to happen. Good scripts, and audience will obviously come to the theaters to watch those films, I think.
Yeah.
And what he is celebrating now has been constantly happening in Hindi cinema.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. And in Malayalam cinema. Mr. Lal and Mammootty have acted so many films.
Yep.
All the
I've only seen one of them. Number 20, Madras Mail.
good actors will huddle together to make a good movie. That is the spirit we are trying to bring about in Tamil cinema. He has already done it there. And you see that's not a formula. That's a way of doing things.
Collaboration, more collaboration.
But what he said is the most important thing, the connect with the audience. That's very important. When Shantaramji was making Kotni's Ki Amar Kahani and all those stories, he was directly man on the street. When he moved away, became a baron, film industry baron, he knew that his connect is going, so he went to...
I just want to say, Film Companion is like they have more than 1 million subscribers. They're doing it for so many years. I expected better quality, a constructive criticism. Like, I know something can go wrong, but I'm sure they tested all the equipment, everything beforehand. Even there's like some echo going on, like you cannot excuse. Like, you're too experienced to, say excuse or, say it didn't work out. You expect better, at least from them.
Navrang Janak Janak Payal Vaje. It's another world he created. Being connected with the audience is important. I'm fortunate that I'm born in the internet era. Otherwise, I won't even know, because there's nothing called Dikvijayam for actors, where the kings go masquerading to find out what's happening. There's nothing like that for actors. They only hear an applause, and my producers and my friends will see to it that I don't hear any criticism.
Yes.
That's
I
true.
sometimes wish that still existed like that.
Yeah,
I
sometimes we
sometimes
do
wish that
actually.
still existed. Where you don't hear criticism. We lived in that era. But I'm saying, so how do we come to know about your films? We go to the theaters, watch it, and then pass the word around, that there is a film and this is what he's done. So there was no reviews. There was no phones.
No, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
He was celebrating Vikram because it's a generation who's shaking hands with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me, how do you all measure risk? For
Interesting question.
Swapna, for you to produce Sita Ramam, which is this swooning romance at a time when really no one's doing swooning romance, right? Or for you to create historical fiction about two beloved, freedom fighters. Prithviraj, for you to produce and act in Jana Gana Mana, where you have this thundering climactic speech where your character is saying, "This is not anyone's father's private property. This is our country." Or Gautham, for you to, you said this yourself, unlearn 20 years of filmmaking and create the gangster movie you did. How do all of you measure how far to go on that limb and how long to stay there? Lokesh.
Actually, I thought I'm here to listen to.
Not just the audience. That's what you
I was
want.
thinking you shouldn't see me, so it is not that. But to answer your previous question and as well as this question and everything
She didn't ask him, by the way, previous question.
starts with like the excitement and how
See, I don't want to blame anyone or why you'd ask her and him and this and that. Like it's a very big deal. Me watching, I'm like little, anxious watching them talk. So, it's okay. Let's forgive everyone.
excited we are like as a creator, and it starts from the paper I write and how I share that excitement with the team, and that comes next. And if that is done right, and I think we'll have that, like sir said, the proper connect with the people, and that excitement shares, I mean, on screen, and it will be shared with the people also.
So you keep sharing excitement,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Right.
And about risk, there is no certain, measurement to calculate risk now. And what we do is actually, will this work or not? That is the final thing that I'll do. And we'll share our scripts to other directors and fellow directors as well. And if that excitement still continues and everyone are kicked about the project, and I think the risk is little less that it might work well with the audience. And that is the thing I do. Yeah.
That's how you test
Yes.
it. So now what do you do?
So, probably I'm connected to your earlier question too. I mean, when you talk about a popular cinema, all these guys are making popular cinema. When we started off as, in Sita Ramam, it was not a conventional popular cinema. It was a rom-com set in 60s, which could be an arty, and, in this particular stage, post-COVID and this whole OTT wave. And for the market, it looked super risky. I mean, there's nothing so right about this film. But then, when I heard the script, I remember falling in love, and I remember crying. I remember having a tear down. I think I'm 80% of the audience. I like commercial cinema. But I also grew up watching, I was raised in a small town called Vijayawada. So that's like the hub for commercial cinema. So back when I was young, I remember there was, not because I was here, but there was a Sagar Sangamam and a Swati Mutyam. Those sort of films came in and kind of put a super speed breaker for commercial cinema, and it did how? So the love for that sort of cinema has been there. And then, when you get a chance to make something like that, though it probably sounds risky on paper, I just thought we should grab it and, stand by it and, take it to the audience.
Prithviraj, for you?
So firstly, I have to reiterate what Kamal sir said, that since all of us are from the southern states, I get this question a lot about North Indian cinema not being able to crack the commercial cinema code. But there have been times not too long ago when we have sat around a table and thought, how are they doing it?
That's exactly what I mean.
How is Hindi cinema cracking this? How are they able to open up such huge
Times change. That's what happens.
overseas markets? And that's not too long ago. I'm not talking about medieval ages. So this, I truly believe, is a phase. There will be one big
I just realized it's the first time he spoke on this.
hit. Maybe it's Pathan. I know some of the newer films that are on floors right now. What those filmmakers are making. Some of them are really exciting. In Hindi, I mean, and it could just be that one big film followed by another big film, and the whole narrative will change. So I do believe that that perspective is a bit skewed as we speak today. And regarding your second question, I believe risk is vital because in my career at least, all the films that have worked very, very well, have gone on to become very big, are films that have scared me a bit. Are films that at least somewhere in the process of making them, one fine day, at least once, it's made me think, hang on, is this going to work? The ones where you're sitting back and you feel safe about it and you feel cocooned about what you're making are the ones that usually fall flat. And I do believe it is vitally important that you treat your audience with respect. You have to tell yourself that it is them who you are making the film for. And that is where I believe the words you used, condescension and compromise, come into play, because like Rajamouli sir said, once complacency sets in, once you start thinking you can lead them, you can make a film and hope that they will follow you, then you're into really uncharted territory. I know maverick filmmakers who have succeeded in that route, but you always have to make sure you do not lose touch with the fact that you're conversing with the audience. Respect them, respect their intellect. And this comes from my, industry, where some all-time great writers have always told me, like Lohi sir, MT sir, Srini, and all of them have told me that you need to be aware of the fact that you're conversing with equals. The moment somebody watching a film starts thinking that from the screen there are characters talking down to you, then I think there is a disconnect. And that is very vital. So this, I think, is in a nutshell what you should try and aim to follow while making mainstream cinema. You will fall, you will fail, you will take a wrong step, but that's how you learn.
Speaking of scared, in all your projects, okay, everyone here has made very ambitious things, very ambitious films with sort of scale. What's the one thing in each of your movies that just terrified you? That kept you up at night. That that in Vikram, this.
I just realized it's so serious, and everyone you're sitting in front of a principal. Kamal Haasan is more than that. I think if we all will be like I'm feeling like I should not talk much. It's Kamal Haasan is sitting there, so it's funny.
Sweat beneath the feet. That moment for each of you. Please, let's start with you. What about RRR gave you sleepless nights?
I mean, as a whole idea,
no.
Never.
One thing, one specific thing that gave you sleepless nights, and how did you get over it?
Now, one thing that we had sleepless nights was the animal sequence rushing into the. That is because we are shooting at night. We can't sleep.
I was like, he's saying, it was difficult, this and that, but practically that's the right answer. That will even, make the mood light also.
I mean, earlier you were talking about a risk. So a risk is like, who's...
I just find it weird that every time someone answers, they want to answer the previous question.
Perspective are we talking about? You have an idea, you're excited about it, and you're working on it. I don't think any of us or any filmmaker in the world, once he is excited with an idea, will think that it is a risk. Because he thinks he likes it and people will like it, he's doing it. So there is no risk there. It is what the others think and what the others think about it, they might, or the market, as she was talking about, they might think it as a risk. And I think all of us are excited with the story. We get into it. As in the process of making it, all of us will have doubts. All of us will have doubts whether this will work or is it working, because filmmaking is a complex process involving so many people, so many minds. At some point of time, we are bound to have doubts on whether this is the right thing or whether this will work or not. But we will take comfort from the first excitement we had when we had the script and go forward.
Yeah. So nothing kept you up at night?
No.
Except
Like I
night
said-
shootings.
Except night shoots.
But what worries me, not scares me, because you don't get into this kind of business if you're scared.
Right.
Yeah.
It's battle with
Wise words.
commerce. So
Yeah.
I missed that.
scared.
Right.
Yeah.
It's battle with commerce. So
Yeah.
a battle with light, actually. So what worries me, it is because I'm Mr. K. Balachandra's understudy, terribly worries me is slipping into mediocrity because of logistics. That can happen to all of us anytime.
Interesting.
So that is one thing that I'm sure that worries all of us. Slipping into mediocrity for making adjustments for logistic accommodation, which is ultimately boils down to money. So that is what worries me. But as he said, as you asked about what is the formula, there couldn't be, but like a way of life, pursuing passion instead of the bottom line could be the first step towards making your dreams come true. Because you cannot look at the bottom line number and get worried and try to start working your ideas around that. You get an idea, you either do it or you don't. But when you like it, then the bottom line will fall in place.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a slightly different anecdotal answer, actually.
Please.
I mean, these are all absolutely vital points.
Right.
So when I directed my first film, which back then in 2018 was Malayalam cinema's biggest production, and Mr. Mohanlal took a giant risk thinking that I would be able to do something like that. And
We're speaking of Lucifer.
yeah, we mounted this film called Lucifer. And I had not narrated the film to Mr. Mohanlal till almost we were ready to go on floors. So one day I finally met him and I narrated the whole film, and I gave him like this 3.5 hour narration, and he loved the whole thing. And he said, right, so how many days are we shooting? So I said, so I think, maybe 85 days, 90 days. Okay, and any idea how many days you would want me? And I'm thinking, yes, about 30 days, 25, 30 days. And immediately there was silence in the room, which is when I realized that Mr. Mohanlal is only there for a very little bit of the film.
And he just figured that out.
Yeah, and I'm mounting this giant production, which is a commercial Mohanlal mass entertainer. And that night, it kept me up thinking, so how? Then I started calculating, so my film is going to be around 3 hours long. And I thought Mr. Mohanlal would be in the film for about 45 minutes. And I thought, hang on, so I started going back and thinking, has anyone else tried this? Like this big commercial film with the hero only so little in the film.
Is it? I think that's not the case. He changed it. Or maybe that's the case.
And that
We'll know.
did keep me up for a couple of nights. But luckily it worked. so now I can claim that it was all part of one brilliant design that I put in place. It was not.
Lokesh, with Vikram, nothing kept you up? All those guns, all those, so many
No,
actors?
the whole film kept us all up.
Really?
Night
He
shift.
shoots only in the night.
Yeah, actually.
So almost like 120 days out of 100 days were nights. Okay, 100 shooting nights. And the biggest scare I felt was all three is the same person. He's my idol, my hero, and the producer of the film. So I am answerable in all formats. And the biggest problem I had before the first day of shooters, in my earlier films, what I do is to the main cast, I'll show Sir's reference videos, with all the other characters he have played, saying that I want kind of this character. And I was thinking what I'm going to show this to, show to him, and I did show all his previous films and said sir, I want this.
Remember
video
this?
film." Yeah. And that was the most scariest thing. And I was thinking on the night, should I do this or shouldn't I do this? And finally, I had no other option. So I did. And the biggest risk, the scare I had was, Sir comes a very little time in the first half. No? during
Once
the
upon a
intermission.
time, there was a
Yeah.
ghost. He's the ghost. Yeah.
So after speaking to some other people, like they said, will it be okay with the people showing Sir for the first time only during the intermission and not the rest? And that hit me so hard, and I was thinking, and I was scared a lot. And even Sir was saying me, the shoot will gonna over, like 10 more days of shoot was left. And Sir said, shall I start the dubbing process for the first half? I was thinking in my mind, in the first half, Sir has only one word. If my sales, what is he going to do? And these are all my...
How did you break the news to him that you have one line in the first half?
No, it's very easy to convince an actor who did Pushpa. So
Oh, yeah.
I yet to see that movie. But if I'm wondering, here only one line in the movie, first half? Interesting. Maybe they were flashbacks, I guess, if in the first half, if I remember correctly. But there were no dialogues there. Okay.
So that's not a problem. But what I like about him, what gave me confidence is he came with a story. We were talking back and forth, many stories of films we liked and all that. Then I said, why do you want to name it Vikram? We were talking about, he says, I'm a fan of that film. Then the talk veered towards what we rejected as the first story. Because everybody thought, I was telling Rajamouli about, everybody thought it's a very award-winning kind of story. Doesn't make sense, kind of. That time the director could have been right. So I didn't want to take the risk, so we put that story aside. I told him just an outline. Shall we work on this? He said, and I said, wow, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's mine. I like the way he went behind something to set aside what he has already prepared. He was open to a new idea. I said, it's an idea. That's all. It's not a screenplay. It's an idea. So develop it. And he went and made it blossom the way it is now.
As a whole
That was the
universe now.
best part for me, because the time it taken to write the film is comparatively less to find out what he has not done in his career. So which role he hasn't done. So that was the biggest part for and the entire team. We were working on 2.5 months saying that, okay, and finally we found an idea, and I said, okay, Sir hasn't done this role. And someone came and said he has done it in Hindi somewhere else. So I went and sat and said, Sir, I'm surrendered here. Please tell me if you have something that you have not done in this. And then he said an idea and said, this is it, I'm doing a film. And I think
This is the problem of working with Kamal sir,
it
right?
is not a problem. That,
He's even been the heroine. So how can you, what do you do? Swapna, what has kept you up?
Mine's hilarious. I mean, when we were putting this ambitious love story together, the markets and the Telugu market said, listen, after RRRs and Pushpas and all, these are all very eventful, superstar-driven sort of films, and the mid-sized films won't work. And then I spoke to my Tamil counterpart, and they watched the film. I said, this is too Telugu-ish. Then my Malayalam superstar hero says, Swapna, I think this won't work in Malayalam. I'm like, so where is this film going to work? In which language?
And it worked everywhere, especially in Hindi.
And fortunately, it did well in all the languages. So there's absolutely no balance sheet for the film. I mean, after a point, after 2 schedules, I stopped looking at it also. I mean, even if there was, because it didn't make sense at all. So those were the sleepless nights for sure. Yeah.
And Gautham,
I don't know if I can say that on camera, but
please do.
ideally my sleepless nights would have been about whether shoot will happen the next morning, whether my
Hero will show up or not.
yeah. But this time it was a dream.
Oh, controversy. I've heard about like something didn't work out with him and Vikram, I guess. So like something the big project is still in like post production hell, you wanna call it.
Really well. And good sleepless nights, like really looking forward to filming the next day. Of course, some of the action sequences were toned down a bit and we didn't start on time. But ideally, these would have been sleepless nights, but we just sailed really smooth on this.
And he did such a good job.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
was fantastic. So speaking of heroes, one of the things I really liked in Vikram, Kamal sir, is that there was no attempt to disguise your age, right? He's a grandfather. He just happens to be a world-class assassin along with being a grandfather. You've been a leading man for decades. where is the Indian film hero right now? Are we mostly back to the larger than life sort of persona?
Larger than life is what the story says. And as an audience, I always felt that actors should play their age. And I was dying to stop running around the trees. Even in his films, I used to say, you want me to dance like that? I used to mimic. The song will come and he'll say, then I'll show him my old steps. He'll say, okay, I got the point. So, but even in his film,
Oh, they have done a film together. Interesting.
it's still younger than what I was, but at least it was believable.
Yeah.
And after some time, Western actors don't discuss that as a problem. Being young is a stage in life.
Wow.
So you depict that if you're suitable
Wow.
for that.
You just dropped a, amazing line there.
So if you are not, there is always a younger generation to take up that role. Otherwise, doctors will never leave you. There'll be no young doctors. There'll be the same old doctor that your grandfather had. He'll come in a wheelchair and treat you. So I truly believe that. And in my industry, Shivaji Saab started playing beyond his age, even as a young man.
Yeah.
So when you're really of that age,
I really find it stupid, when I hear that some actors like, I don't want to play an old man. Like then you are not being an actor. You just want to be like a icon, a youth icon, so you can, sell more, stuff and do more ads. You're not here to be an actor.
you get a feeling you arrived at last. I don't have to use false white on my beard. My beard is white.
Yeah.
And it looks wonderful. To
Yeah,
achieve a white color on a black beard, he'll tell you. It's very
No, sir, even my
difficult.
beard has started becoming white.
No, that's okay. No, but to achieve that gray, when I was a younger person, never satisfying. It looks very fake,
True, even now actually.
like cotton candy stuck on your chin. So in a way, I'm relaxed. I've arrived. Kind of
Prithviraj in Jana Gana Mana played like an older guy, right?
feeling. This is what I wanted to do. Play my age.
And-
For me, my hero has to look larger than life. If graying his beard makes him look larger than life, then I'll gray his beard. If
If
looking
he's
young
making a
makes
film
him-
called Dronacharya,
Uh-huh.
you can't have a
Yeah.
black bearded man. He has to start at midway point.
Yeah.
So it all depends upon how that character needs to look. So if tomorrow there is some character where I have to ask Kamal sir to play young, and he looks good young doing that, he has to look young. He has to do what the character has to do. He has to figure out whether to dye his hair black or put something, lose some weight, do some exercise, or do whatever. It all depends upon what the character
How do
needs
you
to be.
suspend that disbelief?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
And the audience has to believe. Yeah. Luckily, a lot of actors nowadays, like Ajit sir, has left his grave a lot of years back. Now everyone is like not worrying about being their age in the film. That's good.
I think one very important facet about creating these larger than life, especially in these massy action films, when you create a larger than life, so to speak, hero, one thing I think we should not lose sight of is there still has to be a connect with the audience. We keep coming back to that word. In that way, I think people like flawed heroes better. One of the greatest examples in modern cinema would be the Dark Knight series from Christopher Nolan. He took a superhero and made him vulnerable, flawed, somebody who could feel pain, somebody who could get hit, and immediately Batman became relatable. So I do think that people take more readily to heroes who sweat, bleed, and fall. And that's actually taking the narrative back to what the great Salim Javed used to do for Bachchan sir. You used to see those great 70s and 80s films where Bachchan Sir used to play this man who people sitting in the theater used to feel like he came from us, He's a product of all our lives put together. And I think that's something even Rajamouli sir does brilliantly. He does these magnum opus films. You look at Prabhas in Bahubali, you look at, Tarak and Charan in RRR. At some point, you feel like, hang on, they are larger than life. They're huge heroes, but somewhere the genesis is from amongst us. So that I think is vitally important when you design a character, especially for the
all
film.
mythology. That's actually, if there is any formula, it is to start from the weakness.
Yeah.
Start from his ghost, what troubles him, and how he surmounts that. All the mythical heroes we have, either Ram, Krishna, any of it, Iliad, all of them have their weakness. If they don't have any, at least they'll put it in their body parts like Achilles.
Right.
Or
It's in the
Duryodhana.
name. Yeah.
It'll be in the thigh. There should be that, because we are not flawless. The audience.
Yeah.
That's what. So they like to identify quickly with a man who's troubled with his weaknesses and how he either subverts or rises above his weaknesses.
Though that said, there
That's a good segment about, the character.
is a sort of currently this kind of wave of very big scale testosterone heavy film. I mean, Vikram was very testosterone heavy. At the end of it, I wanted to pick up a gun and walk in slow motion towards someone. That's the impact of that film. It's very seductive. But Swapna, your Filmanati also showed that there is an audience for a female-led big budget movie, right? But there's such a
One of my favorites. I love that film. That was so amazing. I've talked about it so many times. Okay, I'll not go into there again. Check out my review.
reluctance to go there. And of course, it is historical. It is all film industries around the globe are traditionally led by men. But how do we sort of bring more women center stage? Because invariably, when you have the larger-than-life hero, women do get sidelined. Though I loved Argentina, and thank you for her.
I agree with you in the sense that I understand that all these big-ticket films are led by male characters now. But I also think we shouldn't lose perspective of the fact that these films are not really about actors. To put an example, if tomorrow Rajamouli sir decides to make a film with completely new women headlining all the characters in the film, it would still open huge.
Sir, are you listening?
I mean, it would still open huge.
It's a great idea there.
I mean, he made a film with a fly. It did open.
That's right.
So it is the filmmaker traveling. And when I say the filmmaker traveling, it is a content traveling. The writing is a challenging part. To sort of motivate our imagination to see a Kill Bill is challenging. That is hugely challenging. I'm not denying that fact. It is easier for a writer or for a filmmaker, at least for me, to imagine a big film with a Kamal sir in the lead or Mohanlal sir in the lead than maybe, a Shobhana Chechi in the lead or a Tabu in the lead. But I am also hugely excited about the prospect of something like that. I know that, there is a very active discussion going on to do an official remake of Kill Bill in Hindi. I'm looking forward to that, actually. Yeah.
But then again, it's all the larger perspective. Are producers, investors ready to back a film like that? Like Mahanati, if it wasn't driven by them, I don't know if it would have sailed easily as a proposal by itself. I know how they work, so it was easy for them to believe in that content and put it out. But I know you had difficulty in releasing the film in Tamil and all that.
Oh yes. Besides, I think, like Prithvi said, writing the characters, I think backing or understanding and putting these films together is a challenge, and kind of taking it to the market is a bigger challenge. So for me, when you're talking about the hero, for me it's very different because, for the little work that I've done, for me content is the hero. So let it be Mahanati or let it be... though Dulquer is a superstar in Malayalam, in our language, where the mother language of the film is Telugu, he's not like a very big star. So, so putting that sort of cinema together and kind of taking it to the market and making it sustain for a week or so, to let audience kind of taste it, is a bigger challenge today. So, I mean, those could be the reasons that we probably don't see so much of content-driven cinema. I mean, when you have a big hero, your life becomes a little easier, undoubtedly.
Well, you've got Prabhas in Project K now.
Life is easier.
Okay, speaking of big heroes, let's speak of big action. Okay, the films all of you on this couch have created have massive action sequences, and
That was like an uncomfortable question, and there are so many layers to it. She I know her. She's watching us so long. She always, puts that question in front of people she's talking to, but it's just, there's one, segment of people who think, women should tell women stories. When men write women, they don't write it well. So there's that debate. Then there's a debate that, we all say, right, it's director's vision. If the director is only thinking about, the male actor he's casting, that's the film is about. He's a male, so he's thinking like a male. Then if we like force in, no, why you're not having women characters? Isn't that wrong? Isn't that you're making the director go against his vision? So, it's like a big debate you need to have just on this topic. But again, it's at the end, it's all about the business.
the single shot sequences, Gautham, that you've done. Every second shot of RRR is like your jaw drops even lower to the ground. All the stuff you did, like I said, made me also want to pick up a gun. And I'm a very, very pacifist type of person. How do you design action? How do you design a story within that story? And how do you decide that we can show this amount of violence before the audience will shut up?
When it comes to action, it is not just the portion as action. I mean, like, it is just a set piece, but the reason for the action, I mean, why a fight happens and what is the proper, lead for that is what that action is all about. And every film has 3 or 4 fights, but a particular fight, if it works well, like you said about Argentina, what is the lead for that fight scene? It does matter. And if you get a proper lead for that fight scene, and it will be a good action. And
Like, she was not trying to just be cool. Hey, I'm Argentina. No. She was in a situation, she has to save, the kid and the mother, and she has to wait for Vikram to show up. So she had to just go all out. That was a motivation, so it works. If it was just, she's just cool and trying to show off, it wouldn't have been that appealing.
when it comes to action, I write action. Even before collaborating with the stunt directors, I write action. Like,
What does that mean?
say for example, if in Vikram sir comes to the home and after Argentina has died, and he'll go look after that kid, and the writing says everything like the kid shouldn't wake up, and that's the idea. So what are all the other things that he can do not to make any noise? So he has to slit or cut the throat or do some sort of things with all the appliances that you have in the house. So you have to write everything so that the action gets more special. And in that way, writing action is something that excites me in film.
So you imagine it completely.
Yes.
That he'll now pick up this, then he'll
I
do
think
this.
that's the only way, because just asking a group of clever stuntmen to enact it for you will end up like a lot of things put together, unless you write the scene, like in Vishwarupam. That scene is not composed, it's written. Only when you write,
I just realized I'm nodding like her.
there is a story to it. And there should be a feeling to it. Otherwise, it is WWF, that bad and mad, and they don't really mean it.
That's true.
Shots fired.
And actually, it helps all the other technicians understand the situation. I mean, if you write that, so that, for example, if I'm saying, all you need is take a laptop and put it in a throat. If you're not writing it there, you can't get a dummy laptop and in the sets, and it's going to take some time for everyone. In that way, they can also bring you, like, their input will be very valid. Like, all the stuntmen, they give you input. No? If you have everything in paper, their input will be, a bigger support for the film.
How do you think of this? Take a laptop, put it in his throat.
That's what I do.
I think that's all the residing evil in us.
Look
Resident
at
evil.
such a nice man.
No, I don't do this for a living.
I'm just kidding. What's so to look at him?
No, but-
he looks like a
but-
Zen master, and look at what he comes up with.
But you see, I was telling you about slipping into mediocrity. If you don't write a stunt scene, you won't be prepared for it. So last minute, even the blood will look fake. There is a sequence in Vishwarupam where the guy tries to put out a gun where he slashes wrist and the gun goes with the hand. So you need to make that hand. And the slice will have to be... Of
You
course,
guys
later
going
on
around,
in the
guys?
mixing, we had to put 15 sounds for the knife, flesh, bone, all of it together to come together.
Swapna, are you happy you make romantic films?
I'm not too sure Project K is all romance.
She's like, just
Because
wait.
I am filming with Prabhas right now, and he's
That's right.
spoken to me
You're
about
making
this
salam with
film.
him. Yes, of course. Of course.
As a matter of fact, Hitchcock explains that the bathtub scene in Psycho never has an actual shot of knife entering the body. It's all intercut.
And also not like, women or, people like us who make the other sort of films don't like action.
Yeah.
When I go back to YouTube, I only watch Bahubali action again and again and again and again. So it's not about someone flying. For me, it's about, the hero saying, who's dying with me, who's coming with me. So that's like a moment for me. So that's sort
And
of
there are
action.
two varieties. It's like sports. Some like football, some like...
Yeah.
See, they like certain kind of action. Some like WWF.
Yeah.
Some like mixed martial arts with gloves off. That's not doesn't have a large audience, but now it's becoming larger and larger.
Yeah. Plus, conviction matters. With action, I think you have to deeply believe in what you're doing. Sir is here, so I will say you have to deeply believe that the animal will jump out with Tarak.
And or the red drape will go and light up that whole army. Yeah.
I saw that scene and I clapped and I hooted. After the film, I'm like, hang on, what? So then you go back and see it again, and you again clap.
After the ticket has been torn, doesn't matter.
Experience speaking.
Yes. It is
Conviction
about
matters.
conviction, right?
and how much violence, where you draw the line, I think it is completely intuitive. There is no grammar for it. There is no rules and restrictions for that. You just feel it. You just feel it, and you think audience will feel along with you. And also, what are you trying to convey to the audience?
Also, like, why is someone hitting the other guy? Where do you want to stop? Are you like enjoying the violence? Are you going to kill the person? All of that I think comes into play.
With the violence, is it shock? Is it horror? Is it sadness? It depends. I mean, in RRR, when Tarak is being whipped with a thorn whip and he's singing a song, my intention is not to show horror or anything. I want people to feel sadness, and the sadness should turn into anger and a proud movement. So how much we show is like, I don't know. I don't think we can put any
Like Cuckoo's
measurement
Nest,
to it.
Milos Forman's film. When the protagonist goes for the lady nurse's throat, I was clenching my teeth. I was doing this. I suddenly felt ashamed because I was a technician by then. What the hell? I'm not a common clod. I'm doing this. I'm moved by the
And also, I
moving
think
images.
it matters what you want to do with the violence. If you're making Passion of the Christ, where do you stop the violence? You can't. You have to make sure that the people watch the violence. So because the violence is intended to convey something. So the line you draw will entirely depend on what the violence needs to convey in the film, I feel.
Yeah,
I think it's according to the genre of the film. Like we made a feature serial killer film with Sir. So I decided I
Really?
will push that, because I wanted the audience to be sort of
That's actually quite a violent film,
disturbed by what they see. Because it's a hunt for two serial killers. And if they don't feel, then it's not going to work. And interestingly, talking about writing, I also write all my action on paper. So I had this big action sequence plan at the end of the film where after the entire film sort of ends, Sir meets these killers, and then there's a fight sequence that is planned, and Kamal sir came out to the sets and we showed him the entire choreography and all that. And he called me aside and said, something's not working because I'm a police officer and these guys are youngsters and they're serial killers. Why have a cinematic fight sequence between them? I'll do it if you want me to, but I feel something is wrong. So I asked him, sir, what can be done? I asked him. He said, finish it off in one blow. And that's what we did. I changed that entire action sequence around.
As a matter of fact, the man comes and says, it seems you asked for my eye. Anyone who plucks out my eye and brings it to you, you offered a reward. Are you man enough? Here's it.
That was the opening sequence.
That's the opening sequence.
That's one of the sequences that I go back to YouTube to see.
Right. The eye sequence.
Yeah,
He says, take it. It's yours.
So like Lokesh was saying, everything was planned, a lot of props were brought on, but when Sir said, something is bothering me about this long drawn out at the end of the film, an action sequence where a police officer single-handedly is taking on two youngsters. Yeah, they're serial killers already, but I don't see the need for an action scene. So I changed it around and it's just, they come at him and it's over in one blow.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't know, sir, I'm not able to judge. He said, trust me, it'll work. And in the theater, I could feel one silence there, which is what I needed at that point, right? So sometimes you have to change things around also, I guess.
I remember Sir saying, after the final narration I did to Sir for the Vikram, and he said, but that was the only time he talked to me as a producer, I think. He said, everything is fine, tone down the violence rate, that's what he said. And I said to him, Sir, the way I learned violence
Sam Peckinpah.
So you need to do that. You either listen to the producer or finally the censor board will tell you to tone it down. So you might
So you might as well go as far as you can. Right?
And with the censor board thing, I was so happy this time because Sir was accompanying me. So he'll do the talking, I just sit and
I have a lot of experience with censors because Mr. Balachandra never visited the censor.
You used to go, sir.
Because he'll get very tense. BP will shoot up, he'll get unwell. Because every frame matters to him, and it's invariably dialogues. And now looking at it, it's very silly what was removed. But I
It was the same through the ages, man.
got used to it. That is my priming time, I think, where I learned. In
So you're a censor veteran.
Tevar Magan, which is the Virasat's original, there was a wonderful shot. As a technician, I was happy. Somebody lops off a head. It's a top angle, and the head rolls into it. It's an accident. We didn't plan it. Rolls quite close to the camera and falls. And we had an extension. I go and cry to the beheaded Nazar's head is there. Are you happy now? You made me into a criminal like you. And the saliva bubbles out of that mouth. It's trying to say something. And slowly the eye flutters and closes. That they removed.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh.
It's almost like the man has not changed his mind.
Wow.
Wow. I'm getting goosebumps just listening to it.
That doesn't matter. I am I, he is he. There's a smirk in the face and there's bubbles coming out, not words. And it's slowly turning pink, from white to pink. And his eye flutters and one eye closes and then the other. I thought it's a brilliant shot, but the
Sounds
censors
brilliant.
wanted it.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds amazing. You know, all of us, folks from the North, have for too long just clubbed 4 film industries together as the South. Right? And these are very distinctive film industries. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone representing the Kannada film industry here, but you know, each one is very unique. It's very, the cinematic language is different, the storytelling is different. Does this ever bother any of you, or does it just not matter?
For me,
It
when I
bothers?
was an assistant director, our producers, especially Dutt Garu,
My father.
her father used to abuse and curse us, all the Telugu assistant directors. You bloody buggers, see how the Tamil assistant directors are working. See how they're explaining a scene. You buggers, you don't know anything. I mean, I'm not
It's a,
He has the
I think
choicest of abuse.
it's a
for us.
carousel we all ride. Because
And
first I started with hating Ramesh Sippy. We saw Sholay. I was an assistant director. What the hell? You give me that kind of money, and if my father is GP Sippy, I'll make a film. That's the first reaction. Because it hit me so hard. I've never seen horses being ridden like that, or the mounting, everything.
That's
I
so
told him
funny.
that when we worked in
Sagar,
Sagar.
yeah.
The first reaction to a movie was absolute green envy.
But you were cursed saying, look at
All
that.
the assistant directors, all the Telugu assistant directors, we used to huddle together. Suddenly, one assistant director from Tamil Nadu will come in his chappals, and he will go straight to the heroes, and he's explaining. We are sitting outside. This bugger is getting charged. We are not getting charged.
I used to shout at my assistant, pointing out at Malayalam industry.
All cross connection.
But I think for a long time, each industry has their own merits. I thought at least the directors, Tamil directors were always technically more savvy than all the other four industries. Telugu industry, we had, like I said, we are more better at popular cinema. We had more connect with the audience, understanding what the audience want. Malayalam cinema, I think, has the best writing. Today, if I'm envious of anyone, I would say it is the Malayalam writers and actors.
Always,
So
always.
this 10 seconds of this interview is going viral in Kerala.
You should. Let me tell you the dark period which happened in Kerala, where I used to predominantly keep shouting because I'm a great fan and I trained in Malayalam cinema.
It was dark.
It was very dark. I said, you must be ashamed. What happened to my Malayalam cinema? Where has it gone? Kind of thing. Because they wanted to compete with Telugu. They wanted to compete with Tamil cinema. They lost their grain. Now it is probably, you can blame it on OTT or simply census coming back. I think some wonderful work is being done now.
Yeah, yes,
And
I told this on international stage that if something we have to look forward. I mean, today this year we have to agree it's the Kannada cinema. Now after a long time, which was like the
Made a video about that. Check it on the main channel.
fourth standard thing suddenly shot up.
see,
came up,
an
Prashant
art
Neel
film
and-
is very difficult to sit. You'll have to, it is like classical music. You can't nod and jive to it. But Malayalam cinema, like I saw Nirmalyam by MT, that was his first directorial
This is
debut.
my dad's debut film too, sir.
Oh, yeah. So I saw it 4 times. I went back to the theatre because it taught me cinema. Like Mr. Girish Karnad's Kaadu, which is an inspiration for Tevaramagan.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I keep telling him that.
Oh man, I feel sad. I don't know these names.
So this is a virtuous cycle.
It is.
Answering your question, I understand that, somebody sitting in Uttarakhand, might not be able to distinguish between a Kannada film or a Malayalam film or a Tamil film, or maybe
today
a
they
Telugu
can.
film just by seeing it or listening to the sounds of it. It's okay. I mean, I don't mind that we are not distinguished like that. What would bother me is that if these 4 industries made an effort to amalgamate content-wise, I think our strength is that we create very different kinds of cinema. Like Sir said, Malayalam cinema creates its own kind of cinema. So does Tamil, so does Kannada, and so does Telugu. And that's our strength. But what we should aim to do, I believe, is amalgamate the commerce of it. Which someone like a Rajamouli sir, even Lokesh with Vikram, Vikram is one of the biggest hits in Kerala last year. Prashant with KGF. Malayalam is yet to come up with something. We will. I can assure you we will.
I had a big discussion. If you haven't seen my vlog or whatever, like I was in Kerala, we sat for 3 hours talking about this and like how Prithviraj wants to do something which Malayalam cinema don't want, and like a big, like a podcast, you can say. So there are a lot of things he talked about and why we don't want Malayalam cinema to make big films, what Prithviraj wants to do, and we were just going back and forth on that.
We have to amalgamate the commerce so that we have a bigger playing ground. We have a larger arena to stage our films in.
You have one more session like this to do on the Eastern intellect of cinema.
Yeah.
The Eastern part of, I didn't even know there was a man called Ratan Tiem till I was taken aback.
He's
Just
superb, yeah.
brilliant, unexplored minds
Never heard.
waiting there to come into cinema.
The new film from Orissa, I forget the name of the film. I haven't yet
Daman.
to see it. Everybody's been talking to me about it. In fact, Prashant Neel told me about that film. Yeah, so I mean, like Sir said, we sit here and talk about North and South.
We have unexplored territory, open, like the Wild West. It's ready East. is
Yeah.
waiting.
Prabhas keeps telling me this. That, Prithvi, we sit here and talk about Telugu, Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil. For all you know, the next 500 crore film might come from Orissa or Assam. He keeps saying this.
Yes, they're capable.
Yeah,
They're capable.
And how exciting would that be?
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the joy now, that everybody's
No, we are now talking as audience.
right.
As filmmakers, it's a very nerve-wracking.
The experience.
That's such a happy prospect.
No, really, if big budgets or something, and suddenly Kantara comes and making the numbers that's making, and like suddenly you don't need a big scale, huge scale film to do the big numbers. No, even a small film like Kantara can do.
I'm so excited.
No, that is
very
something-
nerve-wracking. As audience, it's exciting. As filmmakers, we need to really go back and check again what we are doing, what the others are doing. We have to be on our toes. There is no resting.
I have to add to that as someone from Malayalam, because the next film I am hoping to direct, we are trying to mount that at a scale that is not very familiar for us as an industry. So I keep having these meetings with our digital partners, with our satellite partners, and in their attempt to try and make it a pan-Indian, which is a new, in-fashion word, pan-Indian film, they keep asking me questions like, so is Mohanlal going to be wearing a mundu in the film? Are the aesthetics going to be neutral?
So the understanding of pan.
Yeah, like Ajay Devgan sir in RRR, can we have a North Indian star do a cameo? And
Oh
then
my
the
God.
Kantara comes, and then you're like, everyone is wearing a mundu. There is no North Indian superstar. They're very rooted. And it really is not the style or the names that travel. It is the content. I mean, like I said this to them. I had that meeting just a couple of days back. I said this to them that, before Bahubali, at least in Kerala, not a lot of people knew Prabhas. So now don't make the mistake of thinking that it was the stars that made
Yep.
in the film.
No one knew Prabhas in Hindi belt became popular. No one knew Yash. Who knew Yash? I had never heard about Yash before KGF came out. First part. And today everyone in the whole country knows Yash and Rocky Bhai. Like not even Yash, they know Rocky Bhai. They know the character. So I think again going back to, I think that's what happened with Prabhas. Just because he did Bahubali, Saho, Radhe Shyam. Like, no. Go for the content, not for the actor.
Indian. It's always the content. And Kantara is such a glorious example. I mean, I distributed the film in Kerala. It's a big hit in Kerala also. And actually, I have to admit, when I saw the film before it released in Kerala, I didn't think it would take off like this.
Not
But it
only
just-
the final. Have you seen Kantara?
Of course.
The final shot where the deity
Stunning.
comes and hugs the whole
Yeah.
environment.
Oh my God.
That's a cue for you to feel the same way about the film.
Yes.
You want to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's a brilliant film. So maybe you should do a sort of masterclass on how you don't have to, cast a star, how you just create a damn good story.
The market never listens to you. No,
Not even to you.
And don't even
Not
try.
even to you.
No, don't even try. You always try to talk to the audience. Don't try to talk to the market.
Oh, nice line, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah.
That it should be the mantra, right? For every filmmaker.
I mean, that's a line I'm going to remember.
Yeah.
Don't talk to the market, talk to the audience.
That's what,
Yeah.
in other words, pursue the passion, not the bottom line. It'll fall in place. Or you'll drop the project. There are only two ways.
But you know what intrigues me? Prithviraj, you mentioned it a little bit, that Malayalam cinema has not made a film that has, worked sort of across in the way that Telugu cinema has or Kannada
No,
cinema
but I
has.
think we have memory lapse. Because Chemmin by Ramu Karyat crossed all barriers.
My dear Kuttichatan.
My Dear Kuttichatan
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
It crossed all barriers.
I think more
And
recently is
Chemmin,
what you mean.
at least My Dear Kuttichatan was dubbed. Chemmin went as a Malayalam film. I went and saw it in Chennai. Didn't know a word of Malayalam. But I saw it twice.
I heard the other one with the 3D movie. I think the first 3D movie, not Chemmin.
As a kid.
But I suppose what you mean is that we have not been able to come up with a Bahubali or a KGF or even a Kantara. I understand. And I'd be pretending if I told you that this is why we are not able to do it. I can't put my finger on it. We can
No,
no
once
longer-
again, that Uttarayan Dakshinayan, they've done it. You've forgotten.
It's just a matter of time, I think.
I hope so, sir. I believe so, actually.
Okay, tell me one Indian film that you saw in 2022 that you loved and said, damn, I should have made that. Gautham, you've been silent too long. Let's start with you.
I think I'll still pick Tiruchitrambalam. Very throwback to
Loved it.
one
Loved
very
it. Yeah.
nice space. I wish I had done that seriously. Couple of things could have been done better, but then not to pick on anything. But I really like the way the film unfolded.
We did a whole session on that.
And Dhanush and the dynamics between Nitya and Dhanush. It was like a throwback to the old world kind of films that you haven't seen in a long while, and it really worked in the theaters. I saw the response in the theaters, and I really thought, it's a small film, but it really
And
worked.
all of us, whenever there's a good idea, we always think of a parallel plot.
Yeah, sir.
How we would do it or I would do it.
Yeah.
I loved Kantara, but my Kantara would be different.
Right.
But I didn't do it is my only chagrin.
So,
But
what
it's
did
been
you
done
love?
by somebody.
Yeah.
I think 2020 has been pretty occupied. Didn't think much of what else I could do because I think it was a lot on me. I mean, we have one film at a time or one film once in 2 years. There were 4 projects in pipeline for 2022. So there was nothing that I could think of. I should have done it. But yeah, definitely for the numbers and for the impact, Kantara would be on everybody's wish list, I guess. Like, wow, like how could they do it? So yeah.
Lokesh?
I wish I could have done this film in Malayalam. Tallumala.
Yeah.
Tallumala. I watched it like back to back 2-3 times, and I loved
Great movie.
the edit pattern of the film, and I thought it's my kind of film. I would have loved directing it. And earlier I felt with Ayappanam Koshima. And that's.
I can't say the whole film. Just I was telling Prithvi that when I saw the scene of the police officer giving a cigarette to the kids in Jana
Gana Mana.
Jana Gana Mana, and the whole setup of the scene, how it was shot, how it was made, the performance.
really actually like that.
Written. I felt very jealous. I thought, why didn't this thought come to me?
I'm calling Biju after this. He'll die.
And one shot in Vikram, the last shot when Kamal sir is walking towards the camera, he puts this way and then starts chewing the gum. This has to be mine. This has to be mine. Not some Lokesh Kanagaraj. This has to be mine.
How does that feel?
It feels so funny.
No, sometimes I never had the gum in the mouth. So he has to remind me that I have to chew the gum. So sometimes I'll forget sometimes because keeping the gum in the mouth for a long time, it's nauseating.
Because in the earlier, the previous Vikram in 1986, sir used to chew gum from the entire film. And that was the idea to what and all.
It's harking back to that film
That's right.
where I keep eating chewing gums to keep the nervousness down.
So, Lokesh, he's jealous of a shot you've taken. I hope that is
I'm so
something.
proud. I feel super proud now. Thank you for that. Thank you for saying.
But having said all of us, after we made Apu Raja's original version, Singeetam and I came and looked at each other. He said, "What are you thinking? Now we are ready to make this film." We know all about this film now. We should go back and make this film.
I miss the context of this scene, this discussion.
That's what we all feel, I think. Another chance.
Yeah.
That's why I guess we all do part 2s and part 3s.
I'm coming to the part 2s because there are many part 2s happening in this bunch. But first, Prithviraj, tell me, what is a film you saw?
I mean, this year, on top of the films that I've acted in, I've produced 3 films and distributed 4 films.
When
So
do you sleep?
No, I'll be lying if I told you I'm sitting in front of a computer and doing all this. I'm lucky to have a company that runs by itself, but I've been privileged enough to have the opportunity to associate with some great work this year. But yeah, one film that I saw and I thought, man, this would have been so good if it was a Prithviraj Productions Malayalam film is Kantara, actually. Because, it's so close to our culture in Kerala too.
Literally across the border.
It's I mean, we have so much of it, especially in the north of Kerala. People,
the Tayyam and all
Gulli
that.
and Tayyam and all that. So I told Rishabh this. I told Hombale, the producers, that that this is one film I feel jealous of. Yeah.
Sir, were you jealous of anything you've seen?
Oh,
Him
almost
to be
all.
jealous.
Including Vikram.
You wish you had directed that.
I would love to watch it. I would love to assist him. Right?
That's fantastic. That's so funny, including Vikram. I remember when we met in Cannes, you said to me, you see everything is competition. But like a trampoline, when the next person jumps, he pushes you higher.
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I asked him about working with, 2 other, in fact, with the third cameo of Surya's as well. I said, how do you balance that? And you're the producer. It's so easy for him to say to Lokesh, can you just can I have 2 more lines in the first half? But he said, no.
Those days are fortunately over.
That's right. That's right. Lokesh, you were saying something?
No, sir would say it in reverse, like, tone down a bit for me.
Really?
Yeah. And,
He is very clever, So if you are working with other actors, they're obviously talking about him. So he gets elevated in any which case.
Smart.
You didn't understand the master plan.
Talking of masters, Mr. KB is a very vociferous director. I mean, he'll give galis if it is deserved. So he directs everything, including flower vases, anything curtain moving, everything has to be for an ordinary scene. So there'll be 6 people, and actors are limelight moths. They'd rather die in light than be idle. So I will
He's a legend, man.
do this or do this. He'll curse me from there. Your chance will come. You cannot steal this scene. It belongs to him. This is not your scene. Shut up.
Oh man, I don't think we have directors like that today. Maybe a Sanjay Leela Bhansali, like he's known to be very aggressive on sets.
and
So I learned from there. So
during
Maybe Mani Ratnam, like he's a legend, so no one can say anything to him.
sets, like, this is what happens. Like, Fahad will be playing, Fahad will be there for at least 10 days continuously. And once he's gone and when Seduna comes, they will make sure that what the other person has done, when not in the presence. And that happens with almost with all the actors in the film. But I'll try to show it to sir that, sir, these are the other people have done. He'll never watch it. He'll say, no, I'm not watching it. And that becomes a practice. And I was saying, okay, how to make him watch the scene. But he never watches. And after a point, I said, sir, today I need to cancel the shoot. Let's do it tomorrow. He asked me why. I showed Tina's stunt portion. He said, sir, this has come out very powerful. And I'm changing all the choreography now. So we need to go practice. And Yeah, I feel so. So let's do it tomorrow. Finally, I showed him the thing that's right. And he said, okay, let's do it tomorrow.
I come from a time before monitors.
Yeah.
So I'm very comfortable. I trust the technicians a lot. As a matter of fact, even your focus, you will know only when the rushes come back.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
If it's gone, it's gone.
Yep.
So
That's true.
I
So you have got the shot, the film, everything after it's like just thinking after editing only you'll see what you have shot. Horrible. I can't even think today.
come from those days, so it's a lot of trust.
So on that note, let's go to the sequels, because apart from Sita Ramam, where poor Dulkar's character died, I feel like everybody here has got sequels happening, right?
I'm there in the film.
You're there, sir, yes.
That's right. Just slip that in.
Sorry to say that in front of the actor here, but
So I want to know, I know it's early days and none of you are going to part with some state secrets, but I want to know, Lokesh, where is the next installment in this universe that you're creating with Vikram? Where is it at? When do we see some part of Rolex again?
Right now, I'm doing a film. I mean, I'm working on a film, and after that, it'll be. I have to sit and talk with Sir first.
No, we have made that promise.
Yeah.
So it's for us to keep it up.
You have made a promise.
In the film.
Absolutely.
So-
I will hold you to it. We need to see Rolex back and all
So
of you.
I'm keeping one promise. Indian 2 is on the floor now. Hindustani.
You have many promises, Vikram. Yes.
So it's going to be Vikram 2 and Kaidi 2.
Okay.
And Rolex as well. So it's the universe, right?
Ah.
So you have all the privilege to do all kind of films, like whichever character you want to make a sequel or prequel or whatever you want. So
What fun.
for the next 10 years, I'm settled. So
Great for us.
And you have let out that there is a RRR sequel happening.
Yeah, I mean, like initially with the RRR success, we dabbled with the idea of part 2. We had some
You said that
good
before.
ideas, but never a great one. So we left it at that. Then recently, about a few weeks back, one good idea stuck, one great idea stuck, and we thought, no, we have to make this. But at present, we are just in the writing stage. So I have to write it, then only I can talk about it.
Wow. But a great idea has struck.
Yes.
Amazing. And you are making a more commercial sequel to VTK.
trying to. So there was so much of material that we had.
Yeah.
And this film itself was like
I was not a fan of the ending of that movie.
2 hours, 50 minutes. So we decided we will stop at some point, and it's a journey that could continue. We thought if the film does reasonably well, then we will do it. It's done well. So we thought the writing is in place. We have to get into it now. I think to let you know, Simbu wants to do a film in between and then come back to this. So I'm just waiting for that.
And Jana Gana Mana will also have.
Yes, hopefully. We do have ideas of doing a sequel to Jana Gana Mana, which will also be sort of a prequel. You explore this character before what you saw in Jana Gana Mana. But the immediate sequel that I'm going to be involved with is the second part to my debut
Lucifer.
directorial.
Of
which
course.
I hope to start sometime in mid of next year. It was always, in fact, when my writer, Mr. Murli Gopi, and me first thought of the material for Lucifer, we thought it's best said as a 12-episode series, But those days, series in India, that too in Malayalam, was unheard of. So we just took one part of it and made the first part. And we said, we'll keep quiet. And if this does well, then we'll talk about the next part. Fortunately, it did well. So that's the one I'm going to be shooting in terms of sequels next. So yeah, let's see.
How fun. I think it's very exciting. I'm going to end with a question that I'd love all of you to answer. You're all in positions of immense power within the film industry. What is the one change you want to use that power
Great question.
to bring about in the next few years? Swapna, can we start with you?
In terms of business or in terms of...
Anything in the entertainment ecosystem.
I mean, nothing like it if we can convince our stars to kind of do more content-driven films. For sure, one. And second, I think the affordability of watching cinema on bigger screen. if we can bring that forward, and if we can, get audience to watch films like how they used to watch back then in 80s and 90s, wow, life will be great.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
So I have to say, with so many of the films you all have made, I did see that. Packed halls. It was, and such a, that collective experience is just so energizing and so exciting. So yes, absolutely to that. So what would you like to see?
What would I like to see?
What will you change?
No, I don't think I have the power to do that. But what I would like to see is like how we have stars. Each industry has stars and star directors. In each industry, if there are like 4 or 5 star writers, like how Salim Javed used to be, if the star writers, like everyone are waiting for the writers to give them the script to make a film, if you have that kind of writing, I think that would be great. I think India would be one of the greatest film industries in the world if that happens.
Yep.
Well, your dad's a star writer, but you monopolize him mostly, right? he was saying to me how you rejected Bajrangi Bhaijaan because he came to you at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And then a little later, you said to him, you should have just waited 15 days. I would have made this. So you get the best of him.
Yeah, I do get the best of him.
But we need many more.
Many more writers, yes.
Yeah, I'd also like to just come back and just a thought, how interesting it would be if filmmakers collaborate. If Gautham sir writes for, that'd be like fantastic.
I was going to say that actually. I hope people like this collaborate. Rajni sir and Kamal sir collaborate. For me, I love films. I mean, I've never felt jealous about a film. I mean, with all due respect to everybody who said that here, I learn from every film. And I know we'll keep saying this not because sir is here, but like Lokesh said, my stunt sequences and all were derived after watching a lot of sir's films. Actually, films like Satya and Guna, where the action is so real and understated. I love watching what Rajamouli sir does also, in the theaters. But my first thought is, oh my God, I'll never be able to do something like this. But what sir has done, I want to sort of emulate that. So for me, it's about collaborations. I want people like this to come together. I want Prithvi to be in sir's film and, where industries kind of merge. That way I don't want to sound philosophical, but those lines will sort of vanish then, I think. That's the way this amalgamation and all that will come together. If somebody from Malayalam is in a big Telugu film, now it's happening, and I'm really happy about that.
Are there any film institute alumni here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So we are all hunters.
I mean, there is a film institute.
No.
Well said. Well said.
No. What I'm saying is we are all hunters and gatherers.
Yeah.
We don't know where our next meal is coming from, where next technique is coming from.
Oh, that's true.
I think my dream is to create a place of learning for filmmakers of all faculties in cinema. That's not been done, and I want to do it here. I always thought Hyderabad has taken away the pride of Chennai being a national filmmaking center. Bombay is a Hindi filmmaking center, but Chennai was a national film. Nagi Reddy Garu made Hindi, Telugu, Tamil films. AVM made films in all languages. And Ramanayadu Garu has made films in almost all the Indian languages. And Gemini, Vasan Saab, took Chandralekha throughout the country. So there is a place among the stars for Chennai, and I want that to happen. It's not about me personally doing something, collectively, as they were all saying, so that we come and talk and learn instead of teaching.
That's so lovely. Prithviraj.
I want to do for the Malayalam industry what Rajamouli said did for the Telugu industry. Yeah, I mean, I just want to be able to create something that gives all of us the guts and the belief to dream big and to, really put conviction behind our vision. The more I hear stories from Prabhas about how Bahubali 1 especially was made, I mean, I'm so in awe of this man. I can only imagine the pressure. It was completely uncharted territory, I mean, like that kind of scale, that kind of effort. I'm not saying that I want to create a Bahubali in Malayalam. You know, I would love to be involved in some capacity. I'm an actor, I'm a director, I'm a producer, I'm a distributor. In some capacity, I would love to be involved with the movement in Malayalam industry that, you know, makes us break through. We have great content, great filmmakers, great actors, great.
I think through OTT and like they've definitely explored into, you know, pan India in a sense, you know, like people know about a Malayalam film, you know, so they have done that, but maybe box office wise, you know, name wise, they haven't yet.
Technicians, but I'd love to be part of that one big step which we are yet to make.
How fantastic.
I actually don't want to use any power, and I'm actually doing what I want happily. So unfortunately, with all the actors I am associated with, they let me do what I actually want to do. But with all these people saying that an institute kind of thing would be great, something great, I think, because if at all we have, I used to had a conversation with Fahad Fazil when he was making the film Malik. He don't know how to film it. Like they faced so much struggle in shooting in a sea. So at that time, he directly called Sir and asked help. Like, how did you shoot when Nayagan was happening and all? And Sir helped him doing that. And when we people have access to like all these people, so that we can ask any doubt or any kind of learning stuff, if there is an institute kind of thing, and that would be great. And for any debut kind of filmmakers or like these people coming and giving the masterclass and all, that would be something great. And I wish, looking forward to see something happening.
That's very interesting idea. I think that should happen.
Until that institute happens, there's Film Companion.
Yeah.
Right? You all can give your master classes and we will try and take it across the board. I know I said last question, but one last question, sir, to you. You said in an interview that you don't have to be a sage to predict the future. If you are dedicated to the past and to the present,
And aware of the present,
you
can almost guess the future.
So what are you seeing for Indian cinema in 2023?
We will become world cinema.
Wow.
Which we
Wow.
have already. He's there.
Yes, we, when I say not just two people,
Right.
generally they will say that India produces films, like we said that of Sweden once, France, when Godard, Chabrol and Eric Romer and all came in the new wave. We said that of England, we said that of America. Now it'll be our time, for which all of us will have to humble ourselves. If we have to walk that far, then we have to walk together.
How lovely. That is such a lovely note to end on. Thank you, everyone. And let's continue to walk together. Thank you.
Nice. Behind the scenes. What did he say? Nah, I missed it. So that was really, really good. You know, it was fun. It was enlightening. You know, a lot of good questions were asked. A lot of new and good stuff was learned. And I think about the institute at the end, I think that's a really good thing to have. You know, storage of information, you know, like what Rajamouli learned on Bahubali, you know, all the technicians learned, how they can share the knowledge. I think that's very, very, very important. And I think that's what, you know, institutes, you learn all that. You go through, you know, like there should be documentation of, you know, making of these films so people can refer. Like you cannot just every time anyone can call Rajamouli and like, how did you make that scene? So, you know, if you can like account everything, make a directory, whatever, you know, just like note it all down. I think for future people, not note it down, like literally note down, like make videos about it. And I think on YouTube there are a lot. So I think that's something that can be possible, but who will take the charge? When Kamal Haasan said Indian cinema is going to be world cinema, goosebumps, because that can, you know, be true, because we as a country, you know, we like, I've, you know, not explored international cinema that much. I have seen some of 2-3 films, Korean films, one Iranian film, one French or 2 French films. So I've seen everything, right? And I just think of Indian cinema and I feel like we have all of it. We in itself are world cinema because we have all variety of films. Like we can cater to everyone, every country, people in like everywhere in the world. we have content to cater to them, whatever they like, artistic films, commercial films, everything. Of course, we are like some Bollywood films, superhero films are, I think Hollywood is really killing it right now. At least some other, like, we have it in us, we can do it, and I hope we continue doing that. This was a lovely session. Thanks to Film Companion. I had a little bit issue with the sound, I think, but later it became much better. So just want to say that Anu ma'am is always lovely, comes with great questions, and what a panel. Like, it's just unbelievable they got those people together in a room. Outstanding. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do like, share, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And then you can check out this video next, and I'll see you next time.